Hi YouTube, how are you doing? This didn't start up right away. Sometimes it doesn't want to start and it doesn't want to quit. I haven't put my new camera together yet. Just didn't feel like monkeying with it yet. So, um anyway, I'm going to be talking today about um subdued anger and waking up to that, or um I was raised in a really strange way. I mean, a lot of people are abused, but this was a little different. Um, well, well, yeah, I'm a little different, but I'm going to be talking about people waking up to um, the different types of personalities on this planet and what we're actually battling against. Um, yeah, it's a spiritual thing. But unfortunately, these are human beings that are carrying their weapons just like we are, whatever our weapons are. So I'm going to be talking about what people think is like a glow up or an awakening, or for me personally, I can only speak for myself. So that's what I'm going to do. But I heard somebody that got me entirely wrong. Um, for the grace of my family, having a husband and children, I didn't have anger management issues at all. But however, I do have a very combative nature that I kept subdued for them, giving them the false impression and other people, because of my kind of happy-go-lucky giving nature. I appeared to be somebody, they looked at me as somebody I wasn't. They didn't see the whole picture, is what I'm trying to say. I didn't just wake up like last week or a year ago or 10 years ago and say, oh, hey, I'm going to fight for justice on this planet because I'm really sick of seeing that being overlooked. Yeah, no, this has been something, it's been a lifelong thing. I didn't just become cold-hearted overnight. I was trained in the cold. I was trained in the dark. Um, to be able to, I came out of the coldness into a softer nature. But I can go back to who I was as I fluctuate. You know, we aren't just one set type of something. We're multifaceted, you know, we're not just one thing. If you're a mother and a warrior, doesn't mean you're going to be, hopefully, not combating your children, you know, or your spouse. Usually and typically you wouldn't think that would happen, but so no, I had to adapt a softer nature. I can't remember. Well, I was about 4 when the gentle, feminine girl I wanted to be wasn't left to be who I wanted to be. So I became somebody else. And she's still in there, in here. I've always been in here. My anger that I subdue, it's not gone. you know? And I didn't just wake up. Unfortunately for me, I used to deliver the Minneapolis Star and Tribune. I was a paper person, a paper girl. I had a pretty good sized route, 72 customers usually. And I shoveled a lot of their snow in the winter and raked some leaves in their yard and made extra money. Or I'd sell them my campfire girl candy so I could go to camp. So, um, making money, making my own money. But unfortunately, I would see the headlines of the newspaper all of my life, so um being angry and seeing what's going on in the world socially, economically. I've been with the program for close to 60 years, where other people are just waking up to the deception and the other things that are going on. You know, this has been a long, hard battle for me, and I'm not complaining about it, but the anger is still there for the depression of the people in the world. I mean, it's I don't know. I don't know. I just want to speak on, like, when people say, like you finally woke up, or like you finally learned how to say no, or apply yourself towards these people that are narcissists. When we meet somebody that we think is on our same level with the same type of interests in life or that type of thing, you wouldn't you wouldn't know that they're being deceiving, not right at first. It takes time sometimes to understand how deep the deception is. And then if you actually do fall in love with that person, and you mix your body fluids and that DNA and that physical, spiritual connection that we make with people, that makes it way worse. That gives us a sympathy towards them that we wouldn't naturally have for other people. Or like the DNA connection with a child coming out of your body. That's if they were just anybody else, you wouldn't have that connection with them like mothers do, usually, unless they've trained themselves to understand that these people are individual souls and not let it eat away at you. There's certain family traits that certain families carry on through their lives, and unfortunately for me, there was some things going on with the father of my children. I have two sons. Um, that was about as abnormal as it gets. But I wasn't really understanding that when I first met those people. I just, I didn't know of those sorts of things, so I had nothing to compare it to. I knew what narcissism was, I knew what evil was. I didn't know what premeditated deception on the grandest scale would include. Mm, physically, chemistry, um, that biological combination with people and stuff. That I had an understanding of that science. Excuse me a moment. Um, so yeah, I didn't just wake up, you know. Like I say, unfortunately, I've been in tune with the happenings in the world for a long time. And It's also been decades that I've been studying psychology and narcissism and psychopathy and um, schizophrenia, a lot of different mental illnesses. And there's people that have had head injuries. I couldn't stress it enough. Or even the trauma-based responses. Yeah, but just as quickly as you can be traumatized, that can turn around. I'll give you an example. You ever been in a car accident? I've been in a few of them, but it's in a pretty bad one. Pulled my spinal cord. I wasn't driving, but neither here nor there. But I mean, who would think even in that situation that, can you laugh? Can you laugh when you're in deep, dark pain? I mean, the pain, I don't know that I'd compare it to childbirth, but the constant of it was, and still sometimes is, pretty painful. Um, Still not like childbirth, but it's pretty bad sometimes. It still hurts, but I wasn't even supposed to walk again. What I'm saying is, or if you get scared, have you ever been scared like in a second? You'll be scared, but 5 minutes later, you'll be laughing, you know? Do you see what I'm trying to say about people being multifaceted? And what does that say about a person? Yes, you didn't know something you didn't know before, but you just didn't wake up. You you became aware of that. It's not that you were sleeping, it's that you were deceived. That's more like being drugged. You weren't sleeping naturally, you know. As far as being stable, I was never asleep. I was the most stable one in my household. That's why they fucking hated me. Because when they were going off the rails on their crazy train, I'd point it out to them, you know. They thought they were conditioning and manipulating me to have control over me and my entire life. If I had stayed injured, um, even when I was 15, I had pulled all my stomach muscles and my ligaments and doing some stupid shit, gymnastics, when I was drunk. Not a good idea. But anyway, and I had wore a brace for 6 months around my whole body because, yeah, I was all fucked. But anyway, if I had ever stayed like incapacitated, where those people that wanted to see me not exist, if I had stayed lame the hundreds of times I've been lame like that, um, they would have took advantage of me. So I learned how to be strong, and I learned how to be cold and calculated when I needed to be, and apply that when it needs to be applied. I've never been soft. Like, I don't know what people think. I have no clue what you think. Who woke up when? But I've been awake for a half a century or more. So, you know, that's just my thoughts on, just because submiss something that makes me angry. And people can speculate, well, that's gone, that didn't bother, whatever. No, I strategize on my next moves. When I'm done, somebody does something dirty or shady to me and they need a lesson learned, I'm going to teach you. one way or another. I'll find a way. I always do. I will make an impact. You know that old where there's a will, there's a way? Well, don't count these in because I love smoking. I have no desire to ever quit. I did for about a year and another time for about 10 days and off and on. I started smoking when I was 5 and then kind of off and on 12, kind of regular. By the time I was 15, pretty much every day. And then at 17, I quit for a year and then decided to smoke again. Uh, Same with marijuana. I went off and on, but I didn't start when I was 5. I was 12. Then again when I was 15 a few times. Another time when I was 17. Not anymore till I was about 18, 19. Some in my 20s, and then through a lot of my 30s and 40s, I cut it off for like 10, 12 years. Smoked again and then quit for about 8 years. And it's been about 9 years now I've been smoking again. So it's kind of been off and on through my life, depending on what I had to do. Some of my jobs I had to be like pass the drug test and that to get the job, and then once I had stopped, I quit for my kids too. I didn't want to sit there. I'd smoke in my room, but I thought, nah, I don't even want that. They're getting older. I don't want it around them, and you know. So, I mean, society has changed, but not that much if you really think about it. I think all people should give stuff a break, um, if you feel like you should, you know. Who am I to say? Maybe what you're doing or smoking helps with pain. Like early this morning, I got up just to smoke a cigarette so I could lay back down and get a little more sleep. So, so yeah, no, I subdue it. I keep it under control, and I plan what people need, their lessons. They think they're teaching me lessons. How do you teach a lesson when you're being deceptive? You know, that's not a lesson. That's nothing they're teaching me. I have an imagination. If I wanted to do dirty things to them, they're not teaching me anything. You don't want the mean to come out of me. These people that keep pushing and pushing and pushing think, what, like, you're going to turn me into something I'm not already? Hmm, you don't know anything about me. You might. you might. You might get exactly what I'm talking about and feel much the same way. Who knows? You know. I had a pretty good Mother's Day yesterday. A surprise Lady Babylon. He read some um, ancient texts on moms, different types of moms, be them Scythian murderesses or whatever, but anyway, moms nonetheless. It was interesting. It was good. It was a nice surprise. I enjoy intelligence. If there's anything on this planet to me that it's like everything to learn in the world, and when you see somebody else with that drive I mean, he's spot on. I don't know if you guys know that Lady Babylon, he's an author. One of his books is called The Chemical Muse. He's got such an understanding within that of the chemical connection within people and the transference of spiritual data and energies. And he's a lot brighter, I think, than a lot of people really understand. That's my opinion. I like that channel. I can live without the hail Satan at the end, but each their own. I love people. I don't care. I mean, I still want to know um, who the people would be on this planet that would hail Satan, that have a actual blood lust. If they have the understanding that that force of nature that they call Satan is still a part of the Creator, or if they think that Satan is the Creator. I have no clue, but I'd still like a deeper understanding on what people think when they're engaging with the dark force. Because we all have it in us. To what extent I can't speak for you. I can only speak for myself. you know. Now if you know me, there's people think, oh, well if we hurt her or if we exclude her, that's gonna hurt her. Do you know, even with a stupid thought like that, that's put in the ether against you, has nothing to do with me. I may not even know it. I may not even know you. You might be thinking something. Oh, I can probably hear what you're thinking, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. Um, but people think that they're going to pull something out of me that I would look lower in the eyes of the Almighty than they do. you know. But guess what? He already knows me. He knows that I have the most patience on this planet till I don't. And how many times I've been pushed entirely on purpose just to try and bring that out in me. That's not a funny thing, people. I'm warning you. So it's subdued. I didn't just wake up. I'm wide awake. Always have been. But I'm a lot more alert than I was. So I didn't need to know the difference physically of the knowledge of good or evil. I mean, if you have somebody try to murder you, you're pretty aware that you're probably different than they are right then and there. You have a pretty good idea of what the knowledge of good or evil is just with that one incident. you know, you don't have to live an entire life in misery or darkness. What gets me is people that consider themselves sane and strong. They even consider themselves happy. If they're a narcissist, that's what makes me laugh. Um, just that controlling nature that they want over other people. Tyrannical, you know. Well, when they meet me, they don't. We usually do not get along unless they deceive me, and I still might feel something in there, in the background, and I might actually plan something to squelch their powers. I'm really good at that. That's why people can't confront me. They can say things behind my back. They can speculate what I'm like, but you really don't understand the whole thing. You know, so, or you might, you know. So, yeah, I don't know if some of you have moms or if you are moms, or I hope you had a really good day. Like I said, Lady Babylon made my day much better. Doug made it pretty nice. He brought home, and I have only had sugar this last month one time, except for last night now. So, um, but I had two brownies about like so big with Breyer's chocolate ice cream on top of them. They were walnut brownies. Oh, wow. First, I had buffalo chicken on lettuce and some cottage cheese. So that was salad was my supper, and then I ruined that healthy meal, pretty healthy meal, with some awesome dessert. I didn't even think I was gonna like it because I haven't had sugar for a while, and the last time I did, it was like, eh. mm. I had this little toffee brownie thing, and it was gross. And even right down to the last bite, I thought, what am I eating? It was rude, you know, but not last night. And I lost weight. I thought it was funny. I thought, well, I'm going to get on the scale and see if I gained weight from eating it. I didn't. I lost weight eating brownies and ice cream. I think it might have been even, I don't know. It just didn't stay on me, which is a good thing. I used to do that a lot too. I'd treat myself once in a while, but I really watched myself for decades with my sugars and fats and, you know, a lot. I'd watch people, I'd bake them like I'd make dozen chocolate chip cookies and watch people just devour them, you know? So, not always. I mean, I had my moments in my life. So, so anyway, people, uh, I can turn as cold as ice in a heartbeat. And when I do that, I'm not pretending. I'm not changing into somebody else. When I have to apply that, it's worse than anybody you'll ever meet. That's what I'm talking about. You don't want to bring that out of a kind-hearted person. You want to leave it alone. She's not sleeping. She's waiting for that fight. That's a fight with any kind of tyrant that wants to do people harm or control people or thinks that they're entitled to anything on this planet that other people aren't. Then you'll bring that out in me. Do people think they're entitled to play with my feelings? There's a good question for you. What am I entitled to do after you do that? It's my turn. Like I said, my imagination is there. It's a really good one too. I can dream things up like in the daytime, all by myself. That'd blow you away. And I have a dark sense of humor. Not always. But if I get like that, I do. So, well, anyway, like I said, I subdue it. I'm strategizing right this second for the people that think they're playing with me. Who's waking up? Think about that. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.